Here now is Steve Moore from the Great American Economic Revival Group and also a FreedomWorks economist. So let me ask you big picture first. Obviously, there are so many people in economic pain right now. You look at what happened in the market today, whether it's a rotation or whether it's a reaction to what Anthony Fauci had to say about the coronavirus vaccine. A lot of people in pain out there, and that's a hard thing to deal with for a sitting president. How does he address that?
Well, it sure is. I mean, you know, we've had good news on employment. We've got good news on the virus. We have good news on the health front in terms of the development of therapies and vaccines. But, you know, we've had what, 10 days or so of just incredible performance in the stock market. I wasn't too surprised that we saw some profit taking today in the market big time. I mean, it was some of the stocks that went up the most, like Apple, that fell the most. So this is going to be a rocky road, Melissa, for the next, 3, 6, 9 months as we get out of this crisis. I like the direction of things. Ask me tomorrow, by the way, when we get that big jobs report. I'm hoping for 500,000 to 1 million additional jobs to keep up that pace of recovery. But it's going so far, I think, faster than most people anticipated. I mean, the Congressional Budget Office had predicted a couple months ago that we'd have closer to 15 to 20% unemployment today, and we're going to hopefully hit the 10% or lower mark tomorrow.
I don't know. I think that's cold comfort to people, to small business owners who have seen their business destroyed, restaurant. I mean, there's so many people. I don't know anyone who's better off right now than they were, a year ago. So that's a tough message, and it's a tough time to be saying, even if it's well intentioned. To try and get these cities to do what they need to do. But to say that you're going to defund a city right now, you heard that back and forth between Governor Cuomo and President Trump, but it's not just New York. He's pointing to other states and communities where, that the law enforcement situation has gotten completely out of control. Do you think that's the wrong message right now, though, to cities that are already on their knees to say, I'm also going to defund you?
Probably, I don't know if I would have said that, Melissa, but I do think that it is absolutely preposterous for Joe Biden to say that somehow Donald Trump is responsible for the violence in these cities like Minneapolis, like San Francisco and Seattle and Portland and my great home city of Chicago. I mean, this is an absence of leadership. It's an incompetence of leadership in these cities. You're there in New York City. You know what I'm talking about. There are ways to deal with this in a way that doesn't cause the destruction of property, the destruction of businesses and neighborhoods, the injury to people. So look, the people have to be held accountable. And these are all Democratic cities. Trump is right about this. The Democratic leaders that can't control and keep people safe. And that is the first function of government. So would I say withdraw the financial support for these cities? I'm not sure I would, but I don't think there's any reason to go along with the Pelosi plan, which is to massively tax people in the red states so we can give the money to these blue states that can't take care of themselves. I mean, this is a problem of leadership in these cities. It's absolutely clear.
No
about
doubt.
That.
But before we run out of time, I've been asking this question for the past couple days. What is it that a president could actually do to help one of these cities? I mean, sitting here just as an example for here in New York, I think everybody in New York knows that this is the problem of Bill de Blasio, that this is our governor, that this is about local lack of leadership. Can a president, either Joe Biden or President Trump, what could they actually do to help us?
Call for healing. I'm involved in a great group that's called Pause Politics, and it's a great organization that's calling for kind of a celebration of America, Melissa. And let's do things instead of setting fires. Let's start try to rebuild these cities. Wouldn't it be an amazing thing, Melissa? I mean, let's just imagine this for a minute, that all of the people on the left and some of the people on the right who've been involved in some of these violent episodes in these cities, why not come together? And instead of burning things down and throwing rocks through windows, why not rebuild things? I mean, we've got thousands, tens of thousands of young people out there with nothing to do, and they're rioting every night. If they really want to make a statement, why not work to rebuild these businesses, wipe off and clean off all of the graffiti that is defacing so many of our cities? Maybe I'm just too optimistic, but wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? And there needs to be, I would like to see Trump really talk about that. Let's be constructive, not destructive.
Interesting idea. Steve Moore, thank you for that. Connell?